Rev up your engines!
Tires that can seal their own punctures. Now, the 2020 Ford Explorers are going to have these tires. The problem with the previous version, those round flat tires, was they rode rough because of the rough sidewalls. But the tires that are going in this Explorer are different. Tires on the inside have a built-in goop that's built into the tire. A nail or something hits the tread, pops through, it seals the leak. So you can be driving around and you could have nails and you wouldn't even know it because the thing isn't leaking. Of course, that similar stuff's been out for years that you can put into the tires and you would inject it into the system. But the problem with those are when you add it to the system, it's a liquid. Put it into the valve stem. But then you have this liquid, and it could make the tires out of balance. You have this liquid sloshing around at higher speeds, they'd shake. These tires, the goop is made into the inside of the tire, sitting there. It's not sloshing around, it's built in. It could be a new trend, who knows? Tires that seal themselves. I mean, way back in World War II, they had self-sealing fuel tanks, so if bullets hit the fuel tanks in the wings, they'd seal them from leaking fuel out. So, I mean, I don't know why I didn't come up with something like this earlier myself. Benny Boy 10, Scotty, is a 2009 Mazda CX-9 a good, reliable car? Because my dad was looking for a family car. No, they aren't. Unless they're really low mileage. I had a customer that bought that same exact vehicle, had 120,000 miles on it. Within 5,000 miles, the engine went out on it. And they just ended up junking it. They didn't even fix it. They just junked the car. Because I told them, I said, people really don't repair these engines. The engine's shot. And, I mean, you could try a used junkyard engine, but they're bad engines to begin with. As they age, they have problems. They're not very good cars. Now, if you bought one brand new, yeah, they can last sometimes pretty much trouble-free for 100,000 miles. I've seen that. But as they get older, it's not something you want to mess around with. And buy one that's 11 years old, tell your father, no. Melvin, 1, 2, 3. Scotty, are aftermarket rims just as strong as the original equipment rims? Well, it depends on the material and who's making it. They could be stronger, they could be weaker. There's all kinds of wheels and rims and all kinds of companies that make them too. The thing about strength is most of the vehicles are going for lighter weight wheels because you get better gas mileage because there's less mass that the car has to spin. They go to more exotic materials. But more exotic materials cost a lot more money, and a lot of times they actually break easier. Steel rims are very strong, and the advantage of steel rims are if you ever do hit something and bend the steel rim, it can easily be bent back and driven down the road. You take aluminum alloy, if they get bent, they can be fixed by a pro, but then you're going to spend hundreds of dollars fixing them. You're going to have a repaired rim, and who knows if it's structurally as sound as an integral rim that had never been damaged. The answer to the question is it just depends on who makes the rims and what materials they're made out of. Do a little research on it. Steel rims, actually, are fantastic rims because, like I said, they can take a lot of abuse and still go, but they weigh more, so you actually can't accelerate as fast because there's more mass, and you get a little bit worse gas mileage, and that's why they're going to all these fancy ones. Hey, Zeus 95, I got a 2014 Malibu. The gas gauge isn't working. The gas gauge goes up and down. No one knows things. It's always a sending unit in a gas tank. Your gas tank's a big old tank. There's fuel pump inside. And there's a sending unit that's got a rod with a float. And when it's full of gas, the float floats to the top. And then the other end of the rod goes to the sending unit. And it's a variable resistor. So it tells the fuel gauge what level it's at. And so the fuel gauge inside your car goes whatever level it is. And if it keeps bouncing up and down on those, it's almost always a bad sending unit. You could theoretically have corrosion on the connectors or anything like that, but you said it's a 2014, so it's not all that old. I doubt if it's corrosion. It's just that GM makes their stuff so crappy that the sending units break all the time. I change out tons of them. It gills like a fish. I got a 97 Lexus ES300. My AC works for an hour, sometimes 30 minutes, sometimes not at all. All right, a known flaw of those things is the AC magnetic clutch relay. The AC magnetic clutch relay. Just go and buy one. Put it in. They're notorious. They work, they don't work. They work, they don't. Now, if that doesn't fix it, and you find that it's full of refrigerant, odds are your compressor's going out. As they age, and that thing's, 23 years old, so the compressor could be wearing out, and that's exactly what happens. Sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't, because it's just breaking down inside from old age. I see that a lot at age, but do try the AC magnetic clutch relay first, because a lot of times that is what's wrong. Geronimo 26. I'm 16. I'm looking to buy a 1966 Ford Galaxie 500. It's in great mechanical shape. That is a giant old dinosaur car. Realize you're going to buy that thing as an everyday driver. I think you're crazy, because I got customers of those things, and they're older guys. They have a lot of money. It's their toy. They either put it in parades or they only drive it on Sunday afternoons. And even then, they're always towing it over here, and I have to fix something because the rubber parts are rotten. Cooling system starts falling apart from old age. You realize it's a toy. If you're looking for an everyday driver, I'd say look elsewhere. Don't buy that old Galaxy. They're cool cars, and they're interesting to look at. But whoo-wee, and if you're 16, the insurance on a big old V8 like that is probably not going to be that cheap. Check to see what kind of money the insurance is going to cost you before you start messing around with that thing. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.